It's a state of mind. It's a state of soul. It's the perfect serenity that is reached within when you've accomplished your life's true purpose. The movie ends with Mima finding that perfect blue place, but how did she get there, and more importantly, was it worth the price? Humans and colors are very much alike. There's a lot of nuance to pick from, but finding the tone that feels just right can be more challenging than you'd think. This is Mima's struggle throughout the movie. At heart, she's a true artist, and the idle life could no longer fill the void that she felt inside. From her point of view, life may as well be meaningless if she can't create art that resonates with her core self. So, in order to make things meaningful, she begins to paint a picture of who she truly wants to be. When faced with the poster from her recent past, she feels compelled to tear it down, since it makes her deeply uncomfortable. She's thankful for those memories, but she can't stand to stare at herself in that state. You know what they say, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and in this case, her expression conveys that something is off. She looks slightly unhinged, almost as if her mask was about to slip away. It's incredibly subtle, but it establishes just how relieved she is to finally move on to the next chapter of her life. Unfortunately, this path of self-discovery won't be an easy one to navigate through. Finding the missing pieces that make her feel complete will be the least of her worries moving forward. Besides having to solve that inner puzzle, she also has to fight against a world that refuses to let go of her former persona. Mima feels like she has no choice but to radically rebrand herself in order to be taken seriously as an actress. It's a high-risk, high-reward scenario. The quicker she can leave Mimarin behind, the closer she'll be to accomplishing her dreams. Here's the thing though, there's a fatal flaw when it comes to such a drastic approach. When you shatter the person you embodied over the last few years, it's a given that you'll also erase essential parts of yourself in the process. Sadly enough, Mima has no choice but to learn this lesson the hard way. After unexpectedly booking her first big role as an actress, things rapidly begin to spiral out of control. Her role starts out small, she gradually gets more lines, and then the showbiz predators immediately exploit her willingness to do whatever it takes to accomplish her dreams. Big mistake. Those industry sharks only care about sinking their teeth into Mima's innocence, youth, and beauty. They instantly smell blood in the water and proceed to act out their most depraved fantasies with their newest plaything. She feels defiled, disgusted, and disappointed for sinking so low. Mima put on a brave face instead of putting herself first, since she didn't want to inconvenience the ones who gave her this so-called opportunity. All this distress makes something snap within her psyche. Her biggest fears, regrets, and doubts begin to manifest themselves as reflective flashbacks that mirror her former persona. These symptoms only began to haunt Mima after she accepted to film her essay scene. She may be on the fast track to fame, but the chains of exploitation heavily weighed down her mind. Mima's visions gradually intensify to the point where they become full-blown hallucinations. After a nude photo shoot, it's clear that she's reached her breaking point. She's drowning in the darkest depths of her soul and about to hit the bottom of that abyss. Her solution to stay afloat in those murky waters is a drastic one. Whenever she's on set, Mima falls into a dissociative slumber of sorts. As she's drifting in and out of that dreamlike state, her subconscious self tries to give her one last wake-up call that takes the shape of a foreboding nightmare. In this illusion, the phantom of Mima's past lures the real Mima straight into the jaws of her predator. By the time this blinding reality hits her, it's already too late. The truth is, Mima is in grave danger and she's been using her method acting as a coping mechanism. Masking her fears through the veil of escapism was the only thing that gave her the solace and strength to move on. In order to emulate Mima's point of view so far, I've purposefully avoided talking about the most sinister aspects from the film's story till now. Mima has a digital impersonator and a physical stalker. At first, it's unknown if they're the same person, but one thing is clear. Whoever's harassing her seems to know Mima better than she knows herself. To keep things short, two twisted individuals are targeting Mima for daring to choose her own dreams above all else. First off, we have her stalker. He goes by the name Mimania, and he's effectively made Mima the center of his life. On the surface, it looks like he worships her as if she were some kind of angelic figure. But here's the truth. His obsession is nothing more than a cover-up for his own hypocrisy and perversion. He infantilizes Mima's purity to the point where he feels deeply insecure at the mere thought of other men lusting over her beauty. If he can't be the only one to get a taste of her divinity, then she's better off dead. Mima survives his attack, but her luck runs out the moment she comes face to face with the real mastermind behind it all, her manager, Rumi. Why would she, of all people, hate Mima to death when her job is quite literally the exact opposite? Well, it turns out that Rumi failed to make it as an idol and she pinned all of her hopes and dreams onto Mima. This gave her a false sense of entitlement over Mima's entire life. She begins to deploy increasingly deranged scare tactics against Mima in hopes of making her run back to being an idol. Rumi launches a webpage called Mima's Room, and she uses that as her manipulation hub. She starts impersonating Mima online by posting details about her daily life that only an insider could have known. This instantly attracts Mimania to the site, and Rumi starts using him as a pawn against Mima through email instructions. Throughout the entire movie, it's heavily implied that Mimania has complete access to all of Mima's workplaces, and only Rumi could have realistically made those kinds of arrangements possible. It's also worth mentioning how Mimania's crimes can all be identified through the paper trails that he likes to leave behind. The letters, the fax, the hit and run, most likely it was him. The first violent incident occurs when a fan letter addressed to Mima explodes while she's on the set of her new show. This is where we get to see Rumi's sadistic nature on full display and also just how meticulous she is with her planning. Tadokoro, aka Mima's agent, was the letter's true recipient all along. Rumi held a grudge against him since he's the one who kept encouraging Mima to pursue an acting career. After it detonates, Rumi immediately rushes to the scene and she's the first one to yell out for an ambulance to be called. It's clear that everything went as planned when Rumi calmly reassures Mima that she would have never been hurt by the letter. Rumi's also a total control freak that loves playing mind games with Mima. For example, the website was designed from the ground up with the sole purpose of controlling Mima's thoughts. After Mima learns about its existence, all Rumi had to do was to train her on how she can access it. Since Mima doesn't know how to do anything else on her new computer, she finds herself compulsively checking the posts about her daily life. They feel so real that she starts to internalize them. Whenever things go well, Rumi stays fairly calm and collected. On the other hand, when it becomes evident that Mima's actions can't be under her control anymore, Rumi's mask shatters. In this scene, any tears that she shed weren't out of concern for Mima's well-being. Rumi's crying because she knows that her dream of being an idol has died all over again. She only ever saw Mima as a vessel for her own fantasies. Now that her image is tarnished, Mima's dead to her. This is why Rumi has a very personal vendetta against everyone who led to Mima's downfall. Rumi also has a signature style of her own when it comes to her victims. She symbolically blinds all of the men who saw Mima as nothing more than a product that's meant to be objectified for the masses. During one of her crimes, we get to see a projection of how Rumi views herself. In her mind, she's already Mima's clone. This also explains why her grudge against those men was so strong, as she felt personally violated for having her body exposed by them. Now, let's go back to Mima's curtain call moment. This is the perfect place to put the spotlight on the movie's absolutely brilliant use of color language. Hues of crimson red seem to be ever present throughout Mima's journey of becoming an actress. Those warning signs weren't meant for her though. They're actually there to build up a foreboding atmosphere for everyone in the audience. This creates a rather interesting contrast, since Mima finds herself purposefully ignoring all of the red flags that do get thrown her way, to the point where it almost ends up killing her. After Mima barely escaped Mimania's assault, Rumi found and drove her back to Mima's room. When she finally wakes up to her current reality, Mima notices a glaring red flag at last. The poster that she threw out long ago was still up on the wall somehow. Sadly, it was a bit too little, too late, since she fell straight into Rumi's trap. They both find themselves in a picture-perfect replica of Mima's old room. When Rumi makes her appearance, she's ecstatic to announce to the world that the new and improved Mima is ready to make her grand debut. She dons a stunning ruby red dress for the special occasion. The color really suits her considering all the blood on her hands. It reflects the rage from her heart after being betrayed by the imposter that's in front of her. The moment she can dispose of the fake Mima, she'll finally prove everyone wrong and show them that being an idol is her true destiny after all. As the red strings of fate guide them along to their final destination, Rumi, the idol, gets to shine for one last time in the world's spotlight, freer than ever before. In the aftermath, we get to see that Rumi's shell survived, but her soul will forever be lost in the endless maze that now makes up her mind. The hospital ward reflects the complete lack of colors from her life, where everything feels sanitized in white. Rumi's old memories were wiped clean from her brain, just like overridden data that is gone forever. Despite everything, Mima will never forget her first true fan and supporter. It's the closest thing we'll get to a happy conclusion for this tragic story. The movie ends with a heartfelt message of radical self-acceptance. Embrace yourself, including your imperfections. As long as you're willing to do that, each day will be a perfect blue day. By the way, check out these two amazing videos that helped me come up with the idea for this analysis. You can find more info in the description below.